In Rust, they never sleep. Raiders will use timing and tactics to gain every possible advantage they can. And the most powerful technique of them all? Siege raiding. Like a parasite, it eats away at you. Slowly but surely they control more and more of your building priv, pushing turrets closer and closer until your kits are drained, your meds are low, and you have no ammo left to defend with. Even if your base claims to be designed to withstand a 100 rocket raid, they will always bring more. But if the solution never was to increase raid cost, then what is? Siege tactics, once reserved for the largest clans, are now adopted by smaller and smaller groups. I set out to study the clan scene and its anti-siege bases, made to withstand thousands of rockets. But when shrunken down to the size of a small group base, it breaks, for a few reasons. 1. The compounds become way too massive and either cost way too much or just requires an area bigger than a small group can reliably control. 2. Logging off in a small group single TC base is a death sentence since you have nowhere to hide your main TC. And 3. Upkeep becomes suffocating in a single TC small group base when you are not online. I started working on my own solution, but to assure that this isn't just theory and that it actually worked in real siege scenarios, I asked Pang, one of the most experienced builders in Rust, both in siege raiding and defending siege raids. Large clan bases are always in an online and ready to defend mode, but small group bases need to survive the inevitable downtime just as well. So what if your base can reactively become single TC when you need it to? Inter TC is our innovative solution to kill siege raiding for small groups. Like the name suggests, which TC upkeeps and controls your Widegap modules are interchangeable. If a raider raids and griefs your external TC, they control a lot of your building priv in your own base. However, with the latest inter-TC technology, you can disconnect the external from inside your base and reconnect your Widegap back to main TC. This effectively stops raiders from continuing to fob or push turrets, allowing you to counter-attack the fob with full building block on them. This concept effectively protects you in an online defense scenario as well as when you are sleeping. Pine Hosting is a game server host which so kindly sponsored today's video. I have personally used their servers in the past and it was an incredibly positive experience. They provide servers for a plethora of games such as Rust, Unturned, Minecraft and more. One thing that I really enjoyed when using their servers was the UMod plugin installer, where you can install any plugin with the click of a button right there in your server panel. They provide servers all around the globe to a really affordable price, and with code Lackey you can get 30% off your first month. If you have a server somewhere else, they will personally help you migrate it to their host. Thank you, Pine Hosting. Starting off today's tour, we'll enter one of our fake tunnel TCs, where we have great visibility outside our compound. Continuing into our gatehouse, you can see that we have a clear visibility inside the shield wall as well. Going to the right, we have a ladder that leads up to our reverse waterfall bedrooms. Inside our compound bedrooms, we have these disconnects to disconnect the external TC. The bedrooms don't cover much of our shield wall, which is why we have the tunnels on our gatehouses. In front of the bedrooms we have our entrances to the base, which leads in with a spiral stair. Placing this floor reconnects the inter-TC to main. On our second floor we have the Deadfloor, which is my new concept for early game defendability. I'll explain more in the next video. In our starter we have plenty of space for deployables, and also right here you can see our upkeep. Back in the Deadfloor we have a collapsible angle which might open up in case of a raid. Going up to our God floor, you can see that right here we have a battery, and the God floor also leads down into the main living. So main living is only reachable through Dead floor and God floor. In God floor we also have some extra vault storage in case you need it. The God floor also provides a lot of one-way retakes to our shooting floor. Our shooting floor has an incredible amount of varied angles, both far and close. Above our turret in shooting floor we have a little bedroom module that also connects to the reverse waterfall, which leads down into compound and up to roof. Our roof provides us with plenty of angles and also has 4 anti-heli turrets. And in the center of our roof we have a heli garage to protect your helis from any attack helis in the neighboring area. Now I will quickly go over some tips on when defending and how to ping wall correctly and such, so that you don't accidentally grief yourself during a raid. When ping walling, it's very often easier to just spam place a lot of twigs so that you can reach the higher spots. And as you can see, it's the same for our gatehouse. If raiders are blowing up higher parts of your core, it can sometimes be valid to place a ping wall temporarily just to later on destroy them, making sure that you can see the top of your ping wall from your wide gaps or offsets. You can also ping wall your SAM sites to protect them from enemy M249s with Explo bullets or HV rockets from a fob. On top of that, you can also place in these floors right here and extra walls in case a fob is controlling too much of your roof and you want to have some safer mobility. And as always, in case they grief your external, you disconnect the external from inside your bedroom and reconnect it to your main. Okay, starting off the tutorial, we're going to place a TC in here. And then we're going to expand the loot room out like so. If you want to, you can place a double door here as well. But I'm going to leave it open because that allows for a bigger loot room later on. And to place this floor in here for the bigger loot room, you just have to do that. And here we can have some furnaces early game and swap it out for a battery later on. And here we can have our jump up, which can also be furnaces until you have a garage door. And I recommend not placing a floor above here because that makes it easier to progress this. And what we'll do now is the collapsible peak, which you can also have a wood floor inside that you can pickaxe out later if you want to have barrels or something here earlier, or just not place this and have floating furnaces or something. Then here we're going to have the Deadfloor entrance peak, and to place in the frames you can do it like this. And then we're going to place in the half wall with a floor on top. And on this side you can simply wall it off, or you can do what I like to do, which is add in this early game roof retake here that you can later on pickaxe out if you want to. But if you don't need that, you can just wall this off for now. And then over here we're going to have the jump up to the main living area right here, which will also continue up later on, so we can immediately just upgrade or add in the jump up there. And then over here we'll have our temporary early game exits, which if we enable symmetry, we have something like this with the twig roof, and now we can enter our second floor quite safely. And expanding out with our honeycomb, we can add in that and make this shipping container, or something like brick or jungle is what I recommend, but I'll go shipping for now because that's the final grade. And we can also just add in all of the extra honeycomb down here. And once you're ready to expand even further, I recommend adding in the jump ups like this up to roof, and then we'll do the spiral staircase entrance. You can have windows here or leave them out if you don't want them. It's completely up to you. I'll just make the version with them. And we'll see up here, when you get to this section, you want to have this this frame here. These can be a little bit tricky to place, but I made it in the wrong rotation. It should be like that. That's the rotation. And you can just come up here and place in the rest. And that way you have this easy jump up into here. This will later on be our inter-TC reconnection. What you have to make sure of is this. When you have this wide gap, you're going to have a floor like this. The roof has to cut this in half. You see how the tip of this roof right here is cutting the wall in half here. If it doesn't do that, it won't place. And I think that if you're struggling with the height, it might just be worth to try and tinker it so you can get a reconnect here. Otherwise, you can also just permanently reconnect it in case you get raided. So that's completely up to you. It's a little bit tricky, and future versions of InterTC won't have this issue. Anyways, adding in the rest of the mobility here, we can do this, which will continue up as well. And right here, we are going to be... Oh, this was not meant to be sealed. My apologies. Here we have our main loot room, which is where we'll mainly be living out of with all the things that we might need in there. And on this side we can add in the last honeycomb as well. And at this stage, I recommend that you add in the externals. So to do that, what you want to do is you'll do this Widegap build out, which is build out 3 squares, remove the first 2, like so. And then you can add in the triangle here, and then you place 2 squares like so. And then you add 1 triangle back here, and then you should be able to add a floating frame here, which should be exactly... Leave this twig. This should exactly be 2 squares, and it should be floating at a half height higher, like so. And if you're struggling with getting the stability to work, it's very buggy at the moment. I don't know when Face Puncher is going to fix this. You can also try with the fully floating frame and see if that works. Okay, now it doesn't disconnect. Whatever, it's very buggy, and I hope they fix this soon. And if that doesn't work for you, then you can also try this other version here, which goes like this. And you'll have the TC like this instead. And that's too little stability. Yeah, it's buggy, and I hope they fix it, but for now, just like this should be fixed in future force wipes, and if not, I'll make sure to try and figure out a way to make this work all the time. But sadly, it seems very inconsistent, and I can't even get it to work every single time. Anyways, let's place in our externals here, and this will fully protect us from getting griefed in case they early game raid us. And I'll go place this on the other side as well. And to finish up the compound, what you want to do is add in 2 squares like so. This is going to be our offset peaks, which will be floating. So add in frames like so on both sides, and you can remove the first triangle below here. And then you can just place frames in like this. And then here, what I usually do is I make this wood and leave it like that, so you can later on expand into your tunnels when you have the materials to do so. And then I will just go ahead and place in all the high walls. Which should fit in pretty easily. Just like that. And do the same on the other side. And just like that, we have the compound. And if you want to get large furnaces down, I recommend at least placing these in twig. I'll just leave the metal for now because that is going to be the full shield wall footprint. And that way you can quite easily place in your large furnaces. And we'll just add in these parts as well. Yep. Actually, we'll place this out here for now. And that will be it for the early game progression of the shield wall and such. Next up, we're going to add in the god floor, which will look like this. So out here, we're going to have a vault on both sides. This vault will be facing this way, and you can add in the ramp here as well to make it easier to reach them later on. And on this side, we'll have an ankle biter like so, and you can add in another ankle biter right there. And I like to have single doors on this side. Makes it so that it's cheaper and it's a little bit more toggleable in case the raiders are close. And continuing on, turning on symmetry again, we are going to add in this, and if you want to, you can have even more extra storage up there, but if you want it to be easier to move around, you can leave that open. And going up here, we can immediately see that we need to finish this up. So here is going to be one of our best batteries in the base. This is also a spot where you can hide TC in case that's something you want to do. I don't recommend it in a base this size, but everybody plays in their own way. And I recommend having another shelf in here. And that will be it for this. And then in the shooting floor, I like to have this. So the door path is a little loop around. And here I recommend that you do it like this. And to get all the retakes in. And add in the frame on this one because you have this here, which I recommend you're going to have windowed off, which you might have seen from the tour. And here we're going to add in the last of the honeycomb, and at this stage I recommend placing in like all of the embrasures and such. Just makes it so much more defendable, like in case people are like trying to door path you from top down and whatnot. And this one can be like that, and I recommend windowing this off, as I said. And on this side you can early on place it this way, but later on I recommend flipping it to look like that. And right here is going to be our heli garage. Let's see. And that's going to look like this. Like that. And that's the entire tower done. Next up, we're going to make the shooting floor. So on all of the inner frames here, we're going to add 2 frames and then half walls, and then 1 more layer of frames, and then more half walls. If I can place it. Oh, this is supposed to be a full wall on the side, and the center one is going to be half walls. Like so. Up here, I recommend to add in this. If you want to, I like to leave this stone. If you want to, you can have a single door here. I prefer not to, because in raids they have blown that up for 1 rocket on repeat, and it's very annoying to have to craft a new one and place it in again. And then if we come here on these 2 sockets, we're going to place in 2 more frames, followed by half walls, and then 2 more frames. And here we'll place triangle frames like so, just so people can't twig in and see into our shooting floor through the patricos. So adding these frames as well. And then I recommend having these floating frames for extra stability. And we can now also add in these windows up here to protect our peaks even more. And that should be that. And then up here we can have a fully floating Patrico later on, but we'll wait with that one. And then for the offset side, we're going to do this, which is going to be followed by 2 full walls, like so. And in the center here, we're just going to bring up a bunch of frames, which I'll check right now. Okay, sorry about that. To be clear, this is supposed to be a full wall, and then followed by this, which will bring all the way up onto shooting floor level. And right here, we're going to have a half wall, half wall, half wall, which will be our turret module. And this side will have a window like so and so. And just like that, our shooting floor is sealed in. And up here, we can add in... I like to do this before I do anything else. So I like to have... And on this one, it's supposed to be half walls. And right here, we're going to add in 1, 2, 3, and then a half wall. And then this will be our reverse waterfall pit stop in shooting floor. Like that. Perfect. And this also will continue up to our roof. Like so. I like to get these beds in early because they're pretty good for early game defense. And on this side, I think it's just fully framing up. And then, let's see, we're supposed to add in this. Like so. And that's a full wall. And this is supposed to be a window there and there. And if you want to have the early game protection of the turrets, I recommend adding in these as soon as possible, because these turrets are very good for early game top downs. And that's it for that module. You can also add in low walls here if you please. But I like to leave them open. It's mostly just supposed to be like a 50-50 angle. And let's see. And this is supposed to have a half wall there. Like that, yes. And then here I forgot to place the half wall earlier. And now we're going to finish up these roof peaks real quick. And to do that, you can actually go here and place this and that, and do that on this side as well. Let's see, there. And if you want to, you can place the frame from here as well. Might be easier to get than here, but it didn't really matter, it seems. And we can place in the final Patricos like so. Why is this not placing now? Interesting face punch stability. There we go. And to finish off these Patricos, we'll just seal in the top and place in the embrasures. Sometimes you might struggle with placing this, and that's because of this roof. I think if it's like normal sheet metal, for some reason it blocks it. So just make a shipping container or jungle or something like that. Add in the shop front here. And then we just add in our square roofs like so. And I like to place low walls on here as well. Makes it so that you can like quite nicely peek above it without showing your whole body, so you can like pre-check if anybody's there, and you can like toggle it a bit more. And for the roof turrets, we're going to add in a floor like so. And I like to add in these as well, because there are some angles that I could find at some point with a heli that you could shoot them out from otherwise. So just add in this, and the turret is now protected quite well. And I like to come here to place these, and that. Can also place the barricades there. And down here as well. And as always, you know, the half walls around, making it harder to stand around your windmill. Placing the windmill over there, and same on that side, and the second one over here. Like that. And that is the entire full base actually finished. So now we're going to make the shield wall itself. And I accidentally placed this earlier to try and get stability up. That should be a window. I apologize if that screwed up for any of you, but it should be fine, I think. And let's see. So we're gonna add half walls like so. And now we should be able to place this roof. But before we do that, we want to add that. Make the door path a little bit longer. And this should also be the spot for the turret. Down here. And now we can add in this. And I like to place barricade here as well, just so people aren't able to stand on there so easily. Right here we'll have our shield wall compound exits, which I like to do as follows. Just add in a Petrico here. And seal in the top like so. And then on this side I like to just fully honeycomb this. And now if anybody decides to door path this, we can easily kill them through it. Can do the same on this side, or just have it one-sided. It doesn't really matter. It depends on what you want. Like so. And then we're going to add in the last thing, which is the or almost the last thing, which is the gatehouse peaks, which are as follows. Actually, this is supposed to just be full walls. My apology. But as always, you should practice this on a build server before. And if you want access to the code or the JSON to be able to build or have it on Fortify, or just practice it on a build server and not having to look at the video, I recommend that you buy my Patreon, because that's going to be a Patreon exclusive from now on. Which I think is a fair deal, considering it's like either you support me through Patreon or you support me by looking at my videos, which I think is a fair trade. Just like that, yep. And then what we're going to do is add in this floor here to protect the turret, which we'll place in here. And if you want to, you can add in another turret here to like kind of protect a little bit more if people are climbing over here and stuff. Yeah, and that's it for that. And lastly but not least, we're going to add in the little tunnels, which I do like this. And this is just windowed. And in the floor from both sides. Place the floor above here as well. Low wall, low wall. And then we have the bed out here. And you can place like a bed at the bottom here, so it's like very easy to vary the angle to what you need. And you can have some more beds in here. And out here you can either have a locker or a battery. It's whatever you prefer, really. And yes, that is it for the Maelstrom. Sorry for the long wait. It's been a big as a break as ever. Life's busy, a lot to do. Hopefully I can start getting my revenue up from YouTube and Patreon and all of that, and be able to quit my part-time job and focus on this instead. That would be a dream come true, and the best way to get me to post more is to support me on Patreon, so I can continue uploading and eventually quit my part-time job. So yeah, leave a like, leave a comment. Much love. See you all in the next video.